Hi, I'm Serena Briles and I'm your host for the Pottery Channel. Welcome back. We're excited to be here tonight. We have a new potter with new pottery and a different style of pottery. So I'm really excited to bring this new style to you. We've got several pieces here, very different than what we've had on before, and I'm sure that you'll not only find it interesting, but exciting as well. And if you're a potter out there and you'd like to join us, we would love to have you. We enjoy getting different styles and different potters in here. All you have to do is drop us an email, find out what we can do for you, and that will be at info@thepotterychannel.com. If you want a little more information, you want to check us out a little bit, by all means, go see us on the internet, www.thepotterychannel.com. Go take a look at it, send us an email, and if for some reason you decide you'd rather not email, you want to call us and talk to us, you can call at 336-460-0544. Give us a call, just drop us an email, look us up on the website, and definitely watch our shows every week or so. Check out the new stuff on there on Broco Television. We definitely enjoy that. We like having our channel on there, and we like having you watch us on there. We're very excited about the new form of television technology, and we definitely are enjoying this opportunity. If you are a potter, be sure and contact us, but we're also looking for sponsors. So if you're interested, we have a few sponsorship opportunities that we would love to share with you, work out some things, and have you either your pottery in your shop on here. If you happen to be a person who sells pottery supplies, we'd like to talk to you as well, because what better place and what better audience for you to target. So we can make the most of your budget dollars. Contact us and let us tell you how. We'd love to hear from you. Some of those emails that we've had recently want to know about some of the behind the scenes, behind the camera work, before the show work, as you might say. And one of those things is, how do our pieces of pottery move from point A to point B, here to there, and how I suddenly am holding a new piece of pottery. All right, that would be Alex. That's our daughter. She comes in with us. She's the grip for the show. And I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Alex Briles, and I am 13 years old. I currently go to middle school, and I live in Asheboro with my mom and my dad. So,
well, it comes down to all this work that you do. You make it look easy, but it's not, is it?
No, there is a lot of work to do. I have to line the pottery up to make sure that I know which pottery to take to my mother, and to know when to do it.
Right. And, of course, you also have to make sure it's in a place that's not going to fall.
Yes.
Drop off of something. So you have a lot of responsibilities. And recently, we've also gotten her involved behind the scenes a little bit with the camera, but there's a lot left that you've got to work on that. Grip work, though, she puts a lot of work in. She comes in, smile. You put a lot of work in to that. You also come in early and help set up, like, the pieces that are the rotating and the extra camera shots and stuff. You help set that up as well, don't you?
Yes, I come in very early, and
it's work.
Yeah.
It's work. But she does a good job for us, and we're very grateful that she's willing to do it. And we're very grateful that she's willing to step in. So it truly becomes a family channel. You see me in front of the camera, but you see my husband, Jim Briles, is behind the camera. And we have other people. Mike Politoski helps with the camera. Alex comes in and does the grips. So we really do have a family event. We'd like you to join our family and be one of the potters. It's an exciting thing to do, this new technology, and the ability to actually be on television is something that most of us don't have that opportunity to do, especially if you're a small crafter. So keep in mind, this is an opportunity, and it's something you've not been able to do before. Be on television with your work. And we'll go ahead and get her started. She's got work to do, and we'll be right back in a few minutes. Hi, welcome back. And we're here today. We're going to introduce you to Joseph Sand. That's Joseph Sand Pottery. And you can take a look at his website and get a little more familiar with him. www.jsspottery.com. The JSS Pottery is all one word. And welcome. Good to have you here today.
Thank you for having me here. It's an honor.
We're excited. You have some beautiful work. I really have enjoyed seeing all the different styles of pottery that we've already presented. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your shop.
Well, thank you. Well, again, my name is Joseph Sand, and I'm originally from Minnesota, and I moved to North Carolina in 2005 to study pottery with Mark Hewitt. And since then, leaving in 2009, I've set up a shop in Randleman, North Carolina, which is outside of Seagrove, which is kind of unique.
That's kind of unusual in and of itself.
Yeah. Happily there with my wife and a child, and one coming on the way, and we're
Congratulations.
Thank you. Making some beautiful work in a big wood-fired kiln.
And you're doing beautiful pottery, but you're also, I've seen your child that's cute as a button. So.
Thank you.
But yeah, so you, what brought you down here? I mean, I know you came down to study, but how did you get involved with it? How did you decide I'm going to uproot my life and move to a state hundreds of miles and study this and do this?
Well, I saw the opportunity to work with a master potter, and that really is what I decided with my life. I was studying in England, and I moved back to America, and I had an option of either going to grad school or doing a master's program, and I decided to, work with a master, and I decided to work with a master, and it paid off substantially. I'm able to make a living full time. I'm able to support a family. I'm very blessed to be able to do that.
We've got you can see on screen, the email address is joseph@jsspottery.com. We've got a phone number up there if you'd like to talk to Joseph, 336-460-0259. And his website again is www.jsspottery.com. And if somebody's in the area, I know that there's people all over, can see this today and we'll see it on television. But if you're local or you're coming through the area, and particularly I know there are people who do pottery stops. They do vacations that have pottery stops on them. How would they find you? Because you're not going to be in the Seagrove area, which a lot of potters are going to be listed. You're going to be a little bit off the beaten path. Tell us how we can find you.
Well, I'm out of Seagrove, but it's only about 20-minute drive north. And what I would recommend is you could spend some time in Seagrove, go up to Asheboro, have a bite to eat, come up and see me. I'm just about 10 minutes from downtown Asheboro. And really the best way to do it is go to my website. Again, that's on the screen there. And call me, email me. I'm always there, but it's always best to call ahead or email just to make sure I'm there, because I would hate for you to visit and my dogs be greeting you only.
Well, and that way too you can be prepared and have some things to show them. Now, we're going to be showing you lots of pottery today and a couple of different styles within, Joseph's work. But if they see your pottery and it's close to what they want, but they want something larger or smaller or slightly different, are you open to, if they were to call and say, I really like part 1, 2, 3, but I'd like to have it larger, or I'd like to have it this or that. Are you open to possibly working with them to do a unique piece?
I am absolutely open to that. The only stipulation I really have is that it's in the same sort of color patterns that I make, because that's my style, and my kilns, I use a lot of local material, and it would be hard for me to get like a bright orange color or something,
It would have to be something within the line, but you're open for conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you see something today and it's really close to what you want, maybe not perfect, but keep in mind, whether you're ordering today an item that you see or you're talking to him to get one created, every piece is unique. So you will be purchasing a piece of work that's an artwork. It's an artwork, and you will also have uniqueness. It's different, it's your piece. It is what you have and nobody else in the world, because you can't repeat it exactly. It's handmade. Now, we're talking about people calling and ordering things. Talk about your shipping a little bit. I'm going to make an assumption that you do insurance and your packing and all of that stuff. So tell us just a little bit about your shipping and any guarantees that you have with that, or do you do through the post office, that kind of thing?
Well, I pack everything myself. I do double boxed, and I've never had a piece of pottery come and be broken when the person opened it, fortunately.
That's good.
I varies depending on where you live, because I've shipped pottery all the way to the West Coast. I will use UPS typically because it's quicker, and if it were ever to be broken, I've been told UPS is very good at reimbursing you quicker.
Okay.
And then USPS I use a lot for shipping smaller items, cups, bowls. Anything that's going to be in a really big box is probably going to be coming UPS or FedEx. But I've never had a piece break on me, fortunately. I've even shipped about a 6-foot tall pot all the way to Oregon.
Yeah. I'm glad you were shipping it and they were receiving it, because
Yeah.
I'd be scared to death to open it. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. So we've talked about these pieces. Let's show them a little bit of it. And this is a plate. It is JS001, and the unique burst in the center of it is, I've not seen the like in pottery before. What style is that?
Well, this is a beautiful plate here. It was out of my last firing out of the kiln. My kiln, again, is 40 feet long. I use wood, and I introduce salt in the temperature when it's high and make that beautiful, on the back of this piece now you can see how it's really shiny there. That comes from salt. This piece, I put a piece of stained glass on the inside, and at the hot temperature of 2400 degrees, you'll be getting that beautiful sort of geological
Yeah,
pattern
looks like a geode or something in the center. Yeah. But one of the things I like is the waves around the edge of it. As it turns here, you'll be able to see the edging, and it reminds me of a seashell because it looks like it has a swirl to it. The explosion of crystal and color in the center, and I know that that's a layman's term, so I apologize for it. But that explosion in the center is not perfectly centered, and the way the swirls come out, it just reminds me of a seashell. It has a nice sea green center to it. That's JS001. It's a plate. It's $50. If you're interested in this plate, please give Joseph a call at 336-460-0259, or you can email him, joseph@jsspottery.com. Now, this, when I'm looking at this plate, is it food safe?
100% food safe, dishwasher safe, microwave safe. I've cooked with them. I've made nachos in them. So it will last you a long time. A lot of people use them, but a lot of people also just display them on their shelf.
Well, it's beautiful to do that, but I know that some people like to have practical things as well as beautiful things. So if you want to use it as a serving, it's a regular plate size. So it's approximately 1.5 inches deep in the curvature. So it's not flat, you can actually put food in it, and it's approximately 10.5 inches across. So it's a nice good size. It's the size of a standard dinner plate, but if you were serving for a party or something, JS001, a plate, $50. It's just beautiful. You could put crackers on it. You could put meats on it. You're saying it's food safe, so you certainly could use it for that and use it as part of the decoration, and then turn around and put it right back up on your shelf after you've cleaned it, dishwasher safe, and enjoy it as part of your decoration. That's an option. I'm pointing at right now, the very bottom of it, you have signed JSS, and is that a 15? I wasn't sure.
That is a 13 for the 13th firing of the kiln. I mark every pot with my initials and the number of the firing.
Okay. Go ahead and explain what you're doing with the number of the firing.
Well, because I have such a large kiln, and a lot of collectors like to have things in their collection and know exactly where it came from, when it came from, so I make sure to mark them. And on my website, you'll be able to see if you put in the number firing, you'll be able to find out when it was actually fired in the big kiln.
And the date.
Yeah, the date.
Okay, and the website is, again, just so that, since he mentioned it, I'll make sure that you know it, is www.jsspottery.com, and you can find on there, if you were to purchase a piece, you could pull that number up and find out when it is and get the date on it. So it's really an advantage. It gives you a personalization. You have something unique and it's yours, but now you also know the history, and we're going to go into, he's alluding to this kiln of his, this large, and he built it. So in a little while we'll talk about that, and you get to explain to us about that. We're going to go on to our second item, which is JS002. It's a vase, and it's $95. It is a tall, slender vase. It's not real wide. The mouth on the top of the opening is about 2 inches across the top of the mouth, and I'm measuring about 7 inches across from edge to edge as you go down across the bowl of it. The whole thing, 15 inches tall, perhaps?
Yeah, it's about 15
about
inches
15
tall.
inches tall, and it's a nice slender piece. It would fit, but it needs to have a nice height. It is also glazed down inside, and is that just at the opening, or is it all the way down?
The pot is glazed fully through. What I use that for is a lot of times people have been looking for pottery for the mantle, and that's really an ideal piece to put on a beautiful mantle. Put a large bouquet of flowers in it. It's watertight. It's made again with an ash glaze that's a very simple glaze that I make from ash from my wood stove, and I use all sorts of different little materials.
I'm noticing, I'm showing right now, the bottom of it has sort of that, sort of, as you call it, the geo look. And how does that, you've got it just around the edge, so I guess I'm wondering how it's there and not the other places.
Well, what happens is the glaze goes on and it gets so hot that it kind of pools right on that edge, and that's what I've designed the edge of that piece to allow for the pooling.
Well, and the color on this is a nice beige, so if you have I know the style now is to have the mantle against a colored wall. You know, they'll have one wall a different color or whatever. This color is a nice soft beige. It will blend with any color pretty much in style. So if you're looking for something to fit on a mantle, no matter what the wall is behind it, it's going to show up, it's going to be pretty. It's not real bold where it's going to jump out at you, but it's certainly going to be a nice, elegant piece.
I like to use that to sort of really display flowers. It doesn't take away from a real beautiful bouquet, but when it's sitting on a wall, a mantle, it's just very subtle and beautiful, elegant piece to have.
And this is JS002. It's a vase, $95. Again, if you're interested in this, give Joseph a call, 336-460-0259, or give him an email, joseph@jsspottery.com. You're right, it's a very elegant piece. It would show off the flowers or whatever centerpiece that you're working on, not take away from it. It's just going to add to the beauty. JS002. It's like I said, it's a very elegant piece. It's got the pooling, so it's got a nice dark center, but it's a nice tall piece. So if you've got large flowers, it's not going to get lost. It's definitely something that you're going to want. It's going to show off piece.
Yeah, absolutely so.
Okay, and now we'll go to a third piece, which is a little bit different. It's an entirely different shape. JS003 is a vase. This is $115. And tell me about this style where you've got sort of the, for lack of another phrase, a candle drip. That's the way we used to take the candles and drip it down the wine bottles. Tell me about that technique.
Well, what I love about this is I put a glaze right on the rim of the pot, and the temperature in the kiln is what was going to dictate the melting of the glaze. So the hotter that I get the kiln, the more that will drip down the side. It's a beautiful jar. A lot of people use these for cookies or, you know, again, just putting on a mantle to enjoy a beautiful piece of wood-fired pottery.
Well, and this is a very bold piece. This one is, we're looking at about 15 inches high, and there's the lid on it. And I noticed that it's got a blue hue where the glaze, I assume, has settled in there. But it's a very earthy blue hue, matches with the brown around the rim to give it some decoration. And this is a pretty pot without the lid or with the lid.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of those, like you said, a cookie jar with the lid. It could also be, because it's glazed down inside of it, so you could use it for flowers as well. Yeah, and like I said, we've got about 15. We've got probably about 8 inches wide. It's a nice, good size, beautiful, beautiful. I love the striations down at the. It's smooth, but the coloring on it doesn't look like it's smooth. When you touch it, you expect it to be rippled because of the dark and the light, and it looks like it's rippled, but it's not. But and the top has sort of an iridescent, almost a translucent, right around the top where it started to glaze down, and it's very smooth and very shiny, but it's almost iridescent in that. So it's a beautiful piece. Again, if you're interested in that, by all means, give Joseph a call. If you want one larger, maybe a little smaller, that particular style is your style,
Yes,
I've noticed.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a different size, certainly give him a call. Talk to him about it. I'm sure that if it's possible, you'll be glad to accommodate and work with him on it. But 336-460-0259, and email as well is available, joseph@jsspottery.com. We're going to move right on into our next piece, which is a mug, which is sort of a tavern mug. The style that you have shaped this into is a tavern mug, and I'll call it that. You may not, and I apologize, but you think of like the Vikings, and that it's got a nice. It's still nice and elegant enough to be small enough to put your hands around, put your hand through the handle, but it has that nice sturdy feel. It's glazed inside, so again, it's food safe, dishwasher safe. JS004 on the mug, and that's $20. It's a good size mug. It's not huge, but it's a very nice size for, say, hot tea, cocoa. I think of cocoa in something like this, because on a cold day you want to put your hands around it, and pottery is great for that kind of thing because it absorbs the warmth. It makes me think of coming in and getting cocoa and sitting back and warming up. The mouth on it is about 3 inches wide. It's about 6 inches tall, and it's about 3.5 around in the widest part. Now, tell me about the handles here. As this comes around and you see the handles, it's a very smooth. I noticed that all of the things that I've noticed that have handles in your collection, they're very smooth. How do you get it that smooth and even?
Well, it's through a lot of practice. I've made a lot of these mugs, and the guy that taught me, we spent a lot of time making a nice sort of smooth, soft handle that you'll enjoy, and just be able to get most people will be able to put their whole hand into that too.
You see, I've got all 4 fingers in, so it's a nice secure mug, because when it gets full, a good sized mug like this gets a little heavy, but this is a good secure handle. It's also a nice width. It's probably about 1 inch wide, and that's a nice secure fit, particularly for a female hand. If you get one too big, it's clumsy. And you can see that you've got the different colorations. Now, what makes the really dark, almost a silver or a navy underneath on the one side versus the other?
Well, that is coming from the clay that I use. The dark is from a red clay that I have on the property that I put on the pot while it's wet, and that way it's very unique to my area, my property, and the kiln being fired to about 2,400 degrees, you'll get that beautiful ash that's on the pot right there on this view. That's coming from just from ash from a wood while it's firing. It settles on that piece.
Well, your kiln is huge. It's how many pieces can you fit into that, or do you normally? And I'm sure they're not all of the same piece, but generally, it's huge.
Yeah.
How many feet long is it now?
It's 40 feet from front to back, and I could fit a lot of things in there if I made only small stuff, but I do make
Some of the larger pots.
very
and things.
large pieces also. But on average, there's 1,000 pieces of pottery per firing.
Wow, 1,000 pieces. I can't even imagine having to take it all out.
Yeah, it can be really wonderful experience or be upsetting.
It's a lot of work. I'm sure.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. 3 times a year we only fire, so that's, again, if you find something that you really love, you should get it. Or if you contact me, it will take a few weeks to get it to you. It could take up to a couple months depending on when you order it, because I fire my kiln 3 times a year. So that's really something to think about when you're ordering a piece from me. If you want a custom piece, allow a little bit of time. Right. The kiln's very large. So
what's the largest piece? You mentioned one that was 6 foot tall. Is
that's
that
about as large as I make them. I make really large fountains and just sculptural items that people put out in their gardens. We'll on future episode we'll be bound to be seeing a couple of those.
Okay, that'd be wonderful. Some of those I'm sure that we'll, like when spring gets here, we'll be down there visiting to get some shots of those fountains. But if you're interested in a mug, which is much smaller than our fountain, but definitely useful, JS004, it's a mug for $20. Okay, and we're ready to take a look at another piece that's smaller than our fountain, but still very useful. And this is not a mug, no handle, but it is a cup, a glass. What do you see? What do you have people tell you that they're using it for?
A lot of times people use these as their glasses. I've had people say that they love drinking like orange juice, and some people even go as far as putting maybe some liquor in the orange juice. I don't, but this is something that people love to have, and it fits in most people's hands very nicely, snug. It's not really wide. And also people do put flowers in these too. If they don't want to drink out of it, they'll use this as a flower vase.
Well, and also it's a little bit tall for a pencil cup, but yeah. I like the taller ones myself, because pencils are usually taller than pens, and so I like them to stand up straight, and so you need a taller one. So I thought of that. That was the first thing I thought of, and a glass. And you said orange juice. I'm thinking milk.
Yeah,
I'm thinking how good the white milk would look against the dark environment.
Yeah.
But this is about 6 inches tall and about 2.5 inches across the top. JS005 cup. If you have, I can't remember exactly what it was called. Remember JS005 at $15. And if you call it a glass, I'm sure you'll know what it is. Glass, cup, anything like that. But yeah, I tend to think of it. But you're right. It's the right size around for a good grip. And JS005 cup for $15. 336-460-0259. Now, one of the things for this glass that I'm always trying to think of what's the best use. I tend to be a little bit practical when it comes to pottery, because I'm one of the people, I like it pretty, but I like it functional. So I'm thinking these, you said they're dishwasher safe. I'm thinking these do better than glass. I mean, as far as durability, I would think these are very durable.
They are.
And useful, because how many times have we opened the dishwasher and a glass has been cracked where the heat has cracked it or whatever?
I have never had one. We use them every day in my home, and we've never had one crack in the dishwasher. They're pretty sturdy. You just have to use it with care. It's a piece of art, but it's also it adds a wonderful quality to the morning ritual or whatever you use it for. But it's a pretty sturdy piece of pottery.
Yeah, it looks like it, and it's a shape that I wouldn't want to try to bounce it off the floor, but it definitely looks like something that would be durable and it would last. I know I've got a couple pieces of pottery that are bowls, and they've just lasted for years with Carefree. So let me give you the website so you can take a look at this and other items. www.jsspottery.com. And we're going to take a quick break right now, because we're going to talk a little bit about, in a few minutes, about your the kiln and let you talk about and show off a little bit on your work there, because not only is he a potter, but he's a builder.
And we're gonna let it burn.
Hello, welcome back everyone to the Pottery channel on Roku Television. I'm glad to have you back, and if you're thinking about anything that you saw today, you'd like to make some suggestions, you want to tell us some things about the show so far, be sure and send us an email at info@thepotterychannel.com. Look us up on the website and get more information about this particular potter, www.thepotterychannel.com. And right now, we normally would go to another piece of pottery, but this is a unique thing. We have a unique situation here where Joseph has built his own kiln. It's a large kiln. Tell us about it and how you came to make the decision. This is what you needed to do.
Well, again, it came to my apprenticeship that I did with the master potter, and he taught me everything about sort of, with a big kiln, you don't have to fire it as often, and that uses less fuel. As you can see in this photo here, we're firing the kiln. I'm adding salt into the kiln in this photo here. The kiln's 40 feet long, and again, I put a lot of pottery in there, so you fire it just fewer times. You get, I think, a better product because you have a more even firing throughout the whole kiln. It's a labor of love, though. You really need a big team to help out with the firing.
How many people do you have helping you on a regular basis?
It takes about 4 days to fire the kiln, and I usually have about 10 people help out during that process.
Wow. So, and you said you can put approximately 1,000 pieces in.
I could put probably 15,000 pieces in if I did small stuff only.
Yeah, but with your combination.
Yes, it fits a lot of pottery in there. You can see here, usually those ports are closed during the firing, but I open them up at the end to cool the kiln quickly. It adds to the shiny surface. Those are all little ports there to put wood in. So you can imagine we have to put a lot of wood in the kiln.
How long did it take you to build this?
It took me about 3 months to build it, and I laid every brick myself. Wow. What you're not seeing is half of it's underground, actually. So you can stand up in that kiln. It looks a lot. It doesn't look as tall, but because you use the earth as a buttress, there's an inside photo. You can see the large sculptural garden pieces there. Those are 6 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And when they come visit you, of course, you said you've got 3, possibly 4 firings a year. If you're not firing, will you take people in and show them the kiln and let them see?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that there are people who would love to do that.
Absolutely.
And just a minute ago, we saw a picture of, that's your shop?
That's the gallery there, yeah.
And
we do kiln openings usually 3 times a year after the firings. We send out a mailing and tell people that we're having a big opening, and we get them to come out, and we sell a lot of pottery through those events.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And if they wanted to get their names on that list, they can just send you an email?
Yeah, I have a way that you just go to that jsspottery.com and sign up on the mailing list. That we have an actual list that you sign up on. You'll get an email maybe 4 or 5 times a year, and a postcard 3 times a year if you'd like a postcard sent to you in the mail.
Okay, so if you're interested in knowing, when these events happen and keeping up with this, go to www.jsspottery.com, put your name on the mailing list, and Joseph, you'll keep them updated on what's going on with the kiln. But it's interesting that somebody would build it. I mean, I can't imagine there's a place you could possibly go buy it, so I guess you'd have to build it to get that.
Yeah, you cannot buy a kiln that size.
I can see why.
Yeah, there's probably about I think 10,000 brick are laid in that kiln, so there's a lot of brick that go into it. It's just you need the property. I have 15 acres of land because it's a large chunk of your land if you were to have a big kiln shed, and it's a it's a nice thing to come visit and see. It's the largest kiln in this area besides my master. He has a bigger kiln and is even more impressive, but this is something I use because I'm kind of a single man operation. He has a lot of people working with him.
So, I mean, and you said that you have 10 when you're doing the firing. You've got 10 people working with you. So, and your master again is
Mark Hewitt.
Mark Hewitt.
Yeah.
So he's in the Seagrove or the Randleman area.
He actually lives over in Pittsboro, which is the next county over.
So a little close enough, but not right next door.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, I can't imagine doing that and building that. I can't imagine that time, but it certainly gives you a lot of control over your own
That's a good
destiny,
point.
so to
Yeah,
speak. It
that's
gives
a
you.
very good way of putting it.
He's built it. He controls it, and you can determine. I mean, this way you can do the large pieces, you can do the small pieces.
Yeah.
You've made the decision, and you've taken the control. So it's definitely something to see, though. It's like I said, if the kiln is cold, and you want pictures like he had of the ornamental piece in the background, and a picture of you standing up in it, that would be pretty cool too.
So it's well worth a visit. Absolutely.
Okay, and we're gonna keep going on with some of this pottery and some of the things that came out of that kiln. We're looking now at JS006. It's a plate, and it is $70. And I'm looking at this swirl on the inside. Is that hand done? And
Yeah, it sure is. I do all the slip decorating, and that's an old sort of decoration that's would have originated from China, but South Carolina did a lot of this in the 1800s. And this is just kind of my interpretation of a baking dish that I put that beautiful swirl that fits into a kitchen very easily. I've cooked a lot of chickens and broccoli dishes, baked dishes out of that sort of style of dish. It's a wonderful dish to use.
Well, I tend to think of it in baking because it looks like icing, where it's dripped around the edges. The top of that turn is like an icing. Now this is it's a good deep dish. So if you're cooking meats, it's going to catch the juices in it. It's about 1.5 inches. Well, it's actually closer to 2 inches, I think, deep. You're looking at it across is probably about 13.5, 14 inches across. And with the weight that you're going to be carrying, if you actually functionally use this, these handles are nice and sturdy. They're a good size, so you get your whole hand, and I'll say a mitted hand, because you're going to use pot holders with it if you're taking it in and out of the oven, if you're actually cooking with it. So it's a good sturdy grip, well attached. Again, it's that smooth attached handle, so it's not like, you don't think of it as being two pieces. It looks like it was molded as one piece or created as one piece. But the handle on that's a good sturdy piece for holding weight in it. It's a good sturdy piece. It's not a lightweight, featherweight type dish. Good size. I'd say medium-sized chicken or too small. What else have you cooked in it? I mean, I'm sure that there's other things. I'm sitting here thinking breads, pastries.
You could make a giant chicken pie in there.
That would.
You know, that would be pretty tasty.
Yeah, it would be tasty. It would also probably put me under it. That would be such a large one. But it's a nice, good, sturdy dish. I like the deepness, because it would catch the juices of the chicken. You wouldn't have to worry about them leaking out. The dish itself is not flimsy, and that's JS006. It's a beautiful piece of work, but it's a very functional.
Definitely.
You can tell that it's definitely, if you're looking for pottery to use in the kitchen and something sturdy, that's a good piece for it. Joseph at jsspottery.com, 336-460-0259. And that piece again is JS006. And we'll move on to our next piece, which is one of my favorites. It is a vase, and it is, you can see a lot of the lavenders in it, almost an iridescent color in it. But this pattern, tell me a little bit about this style. This is different than what we've seen. It isn't the ridged look. It's like a Northern Lights look around it.
This is a newer glaze that I've been working with, and it's some materials from my property, but then the iridescent glaze is a material that I'm buying, and I mix it in with there, and it just gives this beautiful translucent quality to the piece.
And you can see lines, it's got the coloring in it. When I say it's like the Northern Lights, it's got like a sunset pink in it. And right under my finger here, you can see a blue coloring edged in green. But the burst, there's the blue, and right up under that is a green. It's sort of outlined in the different colors from what you would expect to see in, say, the Northern Lights. That's why it reminds me of it. It's glazed all the way through again.
Yeah, this is a vase to be used. It absolutely is watertight and displays a beautiful bouquet of flowers.
That's true, and it's got different coloring, so different on decors. You can see here is a little bit of the brown coloring, and you can see it's nice, and the darker colors at the top are very thick, solid colors. And there's the blue as it rolls up into there. You can see the nice blue, but if you turn it one direction, it'll go with one set of colors, turn it another. Yeah. It goes with a different set. JS007, it's a vase, $120. Okay, we have one final piece for you to take a look at today, and this is in the same sort of color scheme. It's a little bit taller, it's a different style of vase, but it is the same type of glaze as the one we just got there looking at. And noticing the blue color here, and then you have a lot of opening. I know the piece right before it didn't have, this has the dark lines that run down with a lot of color showing between. How do you make that differentiation? Is it on purpose, by accident?
Well,
Can you plan it?
I try to plan it, but it never comes out the same. But I put one side facing the fire, and that's this side here that we're looking at. The kiln kind of washes away that beautiful blue, so I want to have that. So if someone wanted to put the one side that's brown facing the room, or if they wanted a colorful side, I like to have the two varied sides.
I've noticed that on a couple of your different pieces. That's why I said earlier you could turn it to match whatever color decor that you wanted. But with this, you get more of the color with the darker lines are smaller with more color in between. The handles on it are very unique in that they're symmetrical, they flow very well. They're not so much handles to be used as they are to be looked at. It looks, I mean, as a vase. So this piece, how long would it take to do this piece with the handles? And
oh, there's a good bit of time also wrapped up into this. It's hard for me to always say an exact minute-wise or hour-wise, but there's a lot of effort that goes into making a pot like that.
We have, this is JS008, a vase, $150. These are so symmetrical. They're just so even on each side. Do you use a tool to get those even, or is that just practice and repetition?
That's practice and repetition. I was taught by a master potter. I've done a lot of these, and it's a wonderful sort of thing to have in a home.
Oh, this is JS008. Vase, $150. We've talked a lot, and you've made reference to the master potter that you learned under. For those of us that are not initiates of pottery, what does a master, what level, what makes the person a master versus
a journeyman or apprentice? A master potter would be someone I feel that has worked in the field for many years. I like to think of a master potter of being in the field over 20 years, that really knows almost as much as they can really figure out in their medium. That's really what makes a master.
A true expert.
Yeah, an absolute true expert. Yeah.
A master at the craft. That's what it amounts to. It's their experience, time, knowledge. So, and that's certainly who you would want to learn from. Yeah. And I would say you're well on your way to being there as well. I mean, looking at your work, and it's absolutely beautiful. And we've taken a look at our last piece for today, but we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
We look forward to having him back for another show soon. And look forward to having you back with us, because after all, we're doing this so that we can share with you. Again, come by and see him. It is so different to hold these pieces in your hand. They truly are one-of-a-kind works of art, and you can certainly appreciate the work that is in them and the workmanship that's in them and the quality as art pieces as well as the functional pieces. Go ahead and check out Joseph and his pottery, the Joseph Sand Pottery, www.jsspottery.com. Anything else you'd like to share with us today?
Oh, I just want to say thank you, and
I appreciate it.
It's really been an honor to be here and show the world my work. So thank you for the opportunity.
We look forward to seeing you back, and we appreciate you bringing it today. I'm very fond of saying about pottery and for this work, it's beautiful, it's unique, it is artwork, but it is functional, and it's truly one of the oldest known to man. I mean, archaeological digs are still bringing up pieces of pottery, so it's history and art and function. Thank you. We appreciate you coming today.
Thank you.
Have a good day, and we'll see you soon.
And we're gonna let it burn, 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 burn. We're gonna let it burn, 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 burn. Gonna let it burn, 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 burn. We're gonna let it burn, 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 burn. We don't wanna leave, no. We just wanna be right now.